I mean, you get nervous here and there when it's going, I don't want to say easy, but when the score is in your favor, it's like you have to be cautious. So a little bit nervous, but obviously I'm super happy to be here in quarters. It's incredible.
That was incredible. Karolína Muchová has pulled it off. She's moving on after a total clinic. On paper, it appeared to be a routine victory. However, the post-match fallout is what really has the entire tennis community buzzing right now. Rather than just basking in a big win, Muchová went out of her way to praise her opponent, Alex Eala, as she's known around here. Showing true class and transparency, Muchová noted that the contest felt much tighter than it looked. Even though she seemed in charge, she admitted to feeling on edge the entire time. That anxiety stemmed from one specific thing: the intimidating presence and unpredictable style that Eala brings to the court. That sentiment speaks volumes regarding the mark Eala has left during her impressive stint at the Miami Open. It's not just the crowd she's impressed. Elite pros know how lethal momentum and self-belief can really be at this level of play. Muchová emphasized that the spectator's perspective often differs significantly from the actual psychological grind happening during the match. To a casual observer, it appeared effortless, but for the person competing, it was a high-stress battle from start to finish. She was well aware that Eala has built a reputation this week for pulling off massive comebacks and staying totally locked in during the biggest moments. Facing that level of grit is daunting, particularly in high-stakes tournaments where a single shift in momentum can flip the script entirely. Even with a comfortable cushion, Muchová couldn't shake the feeling of a looming rally. That is the psychological pressure Eala now exerts on her rivals. She's evolved into the type of competitor you can never write off, regardless of the situation. That reputation keeps opponents on their toes until the final handshake. That is exactly why this specific moment is so significant. Muchová wasn't just being polite. She gave that credit because she truly felt the heat from across the net. She respected the tenacity, the fight, and the high-caliber play coming from her opponent throughout the day. You don't see that kind of praise often on tour, especially after a result that looks like a blowout in the books. It shows that Eala isn't just a prospect anymore. She's a legitimate threat who can push world-class athletes way out of their comfort zones. Muchova's comments might matter more than the win itself, signaling the official arrival of a major new force on the WTA Tour. I think it's a bit of everything: solid prep work, having a great crew in my corner, staying injury-free like you said, and just putting in those quality practice hours. It's all those small factors coming together at once, and I'm just grateful it's finally falling into place so I can deliver some high-level tennis. Despite the loss, Eala has truly put the world on notice this week. She didn't just fill a spot in the bracket. She fought hard, held her own, and cemented her place among the elite. The road she took to get here is the real story. Prior to the Muchová match, she survived an absolute marathon against Laura Siegemund, one of the most grueling tests of the week. That contest was a total war requiring immense stamina, grit, and the ability to keep her cool when things got heated. The brutal extended points tested the physical boundaries of both women to the absolute limit. Endless deuce games tried their patience, while wild shifts in the lead forced them to stay composed under immense fire. Grinders like that can leave a pro completely spent, making it nearly impossible to recharge mentally and physically for the following round. However, Eala's response is exactly what marks her as a cut above the average player. Rather than showing signs of exhaustion or being overwhelmed, she stepped out for her next match looking even more locked in and dangerous. What she did against Magda Linette was arguably her most standout performance of the entire event so far. It wasn't just the victory, but the clinical way she achieved it, playing with an obvious focus right from the first point. There was no second-guessing or fatigue-induced lag from her previous marathon session to slow her down. If anything, that prior struggle seemed to empower her, acting as a catalyst rather than a drain on her energy reserves. This wasn't just a survival mission. She was the one dictating the terms of the entire contest. Eala controlled the flow, picked her spots perfectly, and kept her head during the most critical moments. She displayed a level of tactical poise that you wouldn't expect from a player with her level of experience. Every swing had a purpose, and every move was precise, making her a nightmare for her opponent to handle throughout that set. Linette arrived with plenty of confidence, yet she ran into a brick wall. Eala didn't care about the ranking. She played without an ounce of fear. She stayed true to her style, and when she's in that zone, she's a massive handful for anyone on the professional circuit. It was evident from the opening games that Eala was the one driving the action and controlling the court. Her court awareness was top tier as she attacked the ball and took charge instead of just waiting for her opponent to miss. Linette had some flashes of brilliance, but Eala shut the door every time with calm, authoritative play from the baseline. She seemed at home in the big moments, making sharp decisions and taking calculated risks exactly when they were needed most. You can tell she's really starting to trust her game and play to her advantages. Taking that opening set 6-3 felt earned, not lucky, given how she dictated the pace early on. Muchová was clearly sweating this matchup for a reason, having witnessed exactly what Eala can do. She witnessed that grit firsthand, the poise under fire, and the refusal to ever give an inch. Facing someone with that much heart is a nightmare for anyone, no matter what the rankings say. When Muchová mentioned fearing a comeback, she wasn't just being nice, she was being honest about the pressure she felt. Eala has clearly already won the kind of locker room respect that usually takes pros years to build. Sure, when all was said and done, Muchová was the stronger athlete on that particular day. She stuck to her strategy, perfectly nailed the high-stakes points, and kept a tight grip on the lead. She proved why she's a top-tier veteran and a threat on the big stages. Yet, as she advances in the 2026 Miami Open, Eala's breakthrough remains the real headline. She's made it clear she isn't just here for the ride. She's here to push the elite and prove she belongs. This is how careers take off. It's not always about lifting a trophy at the end of the week. Real progress often comes from the kind of play that shifts the narrative, and she's certainly changed the conversation. She's convinced everyone from the stands to the commentary booth and her rivals that she's for real. Each round was a building block, and every setback only helped refine her approach and on-court persona. She's heading home no longer a dark horse, but as a genuine threat on the professional circuit. Her mental toughness is what really grabs your attention. Between her poise in the clutch and her focus throughout the chaos, she looks like a player ready for the big time. Every champion hits these bumps in the road. It's the bounce back that defines who they become. Based on this week, Eala seems like the type to soak up these lessons and return as an even bigger problem. Her knack for turning the tough loss into a masterclass for herself will be vital as she moves up the ladder. Even though Muchová took the win, her post-match comments ensured Eala's performance wouldn't be forgotten. By giving her props, she confirmed what we all saw: the arrival of a special talent who's here to stay. That kind of shout-out from a seasoned pro definitely puts the rest of the locker room on notice. It's a warning that Eala is a force to be reckoned with, even if her run at the Miami Open ended today. This isn't a curtain call, it's more like a launch pad for her next big move. She's officially stepped out of the shadows and proved she can go toe-to-toe with the very best. That newfound self-assurance and the hard-earned respect from her peers will follow her to every event from here on out. If Muchová's take is any indication, we're just seeing the opening act of a career that's going to be fun to follow.